Well, thank you very much, Sir Win. And I think this relationship between the FRC and the QCA is incredibly important because, as he says, the improvement of communication between companies and their investors is essential. I'd now like to move on just briefly to talk a little bit about the work of the Quoted Companies Alliance itself. As ever, there's much to be done, and we're doing much at the moment. For instance, we've been actively campaigning for changes to the Prospectus Directive so that small and mid-sized quoted companies can raise equity finance from the public more effectively. On this subject, we've had a working group engaging with the European Commission, with the Treasury, with the FCA and ESMA over the last 18 months. This has enabled us to develop well-considered and potentially market-changing proposals, and this will make raising money by public companies easier, cheaper, and more effective. We continue to push for tax incentives to encourage investment in growth companies, in particular making the cost of raising equity tax deductible, and also pushing for the removal of the 5% shareholding cap for entrepreneurs' relief. We continue to develop events and materials to inform our members, including our fund manager events and a new edition of the Audit Committee Guide. We're also working on a new version of a REMCO guide. And our responses to the many consultations, as well as our guides, are dependent on the work and goodwill of the members of our expert groups. The time and the effort, all pro bono, that they put in is much appreciated, and it benefits everybody who is within our ecosystem. On the European front, we've invested a great deal of time raising concerns with French and German support about the potential impact on small caps and investment research arising from changes in MiFID. In addition, we've been raising concerns about the impact on small cap liquidity resulting from changes to delayed trade reporting rules, again a MiFID issue. And we're also trying to ensure that the SME growth market concept is fit for purpose in all member states, while still achieving the political desire to develop a pan-European framework. The UK is in a good position to benefit from the SME growth market concept. AIM is well established and in good shape, and it's good to hear that there are things happening with ISDX, with the market building deeper relationships with the small cap community, and we look forward to hearing of more developments there. I think it's safe to say that we're getting a good hearing on investment research, delayed post-trade reporting, and also SME growth markets. And we're hopeful that progress will be seen to be made over the next few months. We very much appreciate the supportive dialogue that we've been having with Kay Swinburne, who's here today. Also with the European Commission, with ESMA and the FCA, particularly on the role of sponsors on the main market and also on the Prospectus Directive. We also appreciate the dialogue that we have with other organisations such as the FRC, the Takeover Panel, the Treasury, BIS and the IASB. The political environment, given that we talk to so many different policymakers and rule makers, the political environment plays and will continue to play a key role in defining the future of our small and mid-cap markets. That's why in our response to the EU Commission's Green Paper on the Capital Markets Union, that we demand that small and mid-sized quoted companies be designated as a separate asset class. This is absolutely key to intelligent and decisive policy making. If they can target their policies in the right way, they will get the right policies. As you may have gathered, the Quoted Companies Alliance has a role for life. Thank you for supporting us, and as an independent membership organisation, we're reliant on the support and subscriptions from our members. In other words, we're able to do what we do only because of your valuable support. And if you find yourself today sitting next to somebody who's not yet a member, please tell them a little bit about how you benefit from being a member. That's as hard a sell as I will do today. Before I introduce our opening panel, I'd like to take a moment to pay tribute to the London Stock Exchange. This year, AIM celebrates 20 years of offering solutions for growth companies. I don't think any of us had any idea that the market would grow to the size and visibility that it has. It's made its way through at least 4 recessions and is probably the most successful growth market in the world. Many overseas exchanges have tried to follow its lead, but in the end, it's a London market open to all. Yes, it's had its ups and downs, but during its time, it's created much wealth for all its stakeholders. And the 20th anniversary party is well deserved and I'm sure will be well supported. And as a London market, just to borrow the Cockney vernacular, it's had its share of Barney rubble, but for many of you, company investors and advisors alike, it's enabled you to earn plenty of Bugs Bunny. And the brass tacks of this market speak for themselves. So well done and congratulations on 20 years of significant economic contribution, and please, London Stock Exchange, look after this valuable UK and European asset for at least the next 20 years. And enjoy your Russell Harty later this month. As many of you know, my glass is always 3/4 full, and I believe that public markets are essential to our economic and social well-being, and I'd encourage you all to approach today in that light. This is an interactive day, and we've allowed plenty of time for questions to our panels, so please take the opportunity to get what you need from each session. As usual, we've got surveys powered by YouGov, and you've got voting pads on your tables, so, and we'll show you the results straight away. So if you'd like to get hold of your voting pads to answer the following questions. We've got 3 questions just ahead of this panel just to get you in the mood. So the first question is, are you optimistic or pessimistic about the growth prospects of small and mid-sized quoted companies over the next 12 months? So I think it's quite simple, 1 for optimistic and 2 for pessimistic. And if you don't know, press optimistic. Okay, let's see the results of that question. Okay, I think a lot of don't knows there, obviously. So that's brilliant. So 97% are optimistic about the growth prospects. Okay, second question, please. Would you describe the new political climate as positive, negative, or neutral for our sector? Okay, let's see the results of that. Okay, so 11% extremely positive, 78% positive, 1% negative, and 0% extremely negative. So we're on the positive side. And so finally, the third question, in the event of a Brexit, should the UK's small and mid-cap sector fear it or welcome it? Okay, let's see the results. Fear it. Okay, so I think Kay might have some words on that. Okay, I'd now like to welcome our opening panel, who will discuss the effect of the political environment on business. I'd especially like to welcome and thank Simon Lewis, who at very short notice has stepped into the shoes, perhaps I should say the blue suede shoes, of Ken Clarke, who unfortunately is required at the House of Commons, presumably because the new government enjoys rather a slim majority. So more of that in a moment, I'm sure. We're fortunate to have a great panel and also a great chairman in Gervase Williams, who's managing director of Mighton Group and a board member of the Quoted Companies Alliance. So please join me in welcoming Gervase and the panel.